Hey Messiah, we're keeping our community strong by staying connected to one another and connected to Jesus. Today's video devotion comes to us from seminarian Craig.
Hello Messiah. Shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come before him with joyful songs. Know that the Lord is God. It is he who made us. And we are his. We are his people, the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and praise his name. For the Lord is good, and his love endures forever. His faithfulness continues through all generations. That's Psalm 100. And it's quite possibly one of the most beautiful songs that was ever written. And more than likely, it was written for us by King David. And so today we are going to talk a little bit about King David. And we're going to think about who he was. And specifically, we are going to look at the story in which David was anointed king. And this comes to us from 1 Samuel chapter 16. Saul had gone astray. He was no longer being a loyal and faithful king of Israel. And so Samuel longed for someone who would do a better job. And God said, I've got somebody picked out. Grab your horn full of oil so that you can anoint a new king. Bring with you a bowl so that you can sacrifice and then celebrate this new king. And so Samuel began this short journey to Bethlehem. He was excited, skipped the whole way. And when he finally arrived, he met Jesse, because it was one of Jesse's sons that was going to be the next king of Israel. So he shook Jesse's hand vigorously. Jesse, I need to meet your sons, because one of them is going to be the king of Israel. Jesse's excited. So he brings forward his oldest son, Eliab. And Eliab, he's a strong man. He's a handsome man. This man looks like a king. And Samuel is pulling the cork off of his horn, about to anoint Eliab as king of Israel. And God says, don't do it. Samuel puts the cork back on. And God says, Samuel, I can see things that you can't. I have rejected Eliab. He is not the king, because I can see inside of an individual. I can look inside them, and I know what's really in their heart. And so Eliab shuffles away, and Jesse brings forward his second son, Abinadab. He's not it either. 7 of Jesse's sons come and go. None of them are it. Samuel looks at Jesse. Do you have any more boys? Jesse says, I have one young son. He's out in the field taking care of the sheep. Samuel says, hey, this party can't start without him. And so they bring David in. And as soon as Samuel sees David, this young boy, probably dirty from being out in the field, Samuel knows, because God tells him, David, that boy right there, he's the one. He is the king of Israel. Samuel pops the cork off of his horn full of oil, and he anoints David's head. He empties that horn out, and the oil pours over David's head, and Samuel sacrifices that bull that he had brought along, and there is great celebration. And this story ends with a verse that I just absolutely love. It says in 1 Samuel 16, verse 13, and the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon David from that day forward. And so David was anointed, was chosen to be king over God's people. And you know what? You and I have something that is just that special. You and I have been brought in to God's family. God knows us. He sees us. And He says, I want you. He anoints us with oil. He brings us into His family and makes us one of His own. And that brings us so much joy and so much celebration. It's truly a reason to party. And so I want to close with a prayer that I have written that is inspired by Psalm 100. Almighty God, we shout to you with great joy, and we worship you with immense gladness, and we sing all of our joyful songs to you. You have chosen us. You have called us by name and made us your children. You have cared for us, and you love us. Help us always to go before you with thanksgiving and praise for all that you have done for us. Amen. And so we close with two quick thoughts. First, I want to ask you, what is your favorite song? And second, I would encourage you to write a Spirit-filled prayer that is inspired by that song. And then I would encourage you to pray it. May God's Spirit go with you this day, and may you find much great joy and fulfillment in all that God has in store for you.